In section 1.3, we were introduced to the midpoint and distance formulas. Today we'll put those to a little bit of work in finding perimeters and areas using the coordinate plane. We'll also start by classifying polygons. Polygons will be classified by numbers of sides as well as whether they have external lines, which I'll show here in just a moment. So polygons, first classified by number of sides. The second thing is they're either convex or concave. Concave meaning you can draw a line that will have part of the polygon being outside that line from one side extended. So you see the two examples at the top here. Convex meaning no line can be drawn, concave meaning one can. So really quickly we're going to classify the polygons A and B. As you can see, A has four sides, so it's called a quadrilateral, and it is concave because you can draw lines here that will go through. B is going to be six-sided, a hexagon, and is convex. So just to put a little bit of quick practice, first one here we have has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. That makes it a pentagon, and I don't really need you to know what the sides are called or what the shapes are called. And this one is concave. Number 2 has 7 sides. It's going to be a heptagon. So 7 sides. Heptagon from the chart on the previous page, and this one is convex. Alright, now getting into some perimeter and areas. So these are some shortcuts to help you remember formulas for area and perimeter. Perimeter, remember, is the distance around the outside. So in a triangle, you're going to add the three sides together. In a square, all the sides are going to have the same length, so it's going to be 4 times the side length. In a rectangle, it's going to be 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. As far as areas, remember areas are going to be in square units. So a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. So remember that formula. A square will be the side times side, or side squared. For a rectangle, it's simply length times width. So in the sample problem you see here, first off, we can find the distance from A to C as long as you have two coordinates. In this case, the x coordinates are the same as we look from A to C. The x coordinates are both -2, so then we can go from 3 to -3 and find that the length of that AC is going to be 6. Doing the same with CB. CB is going to be both y coordinates of -3, and from -2 to 3 is going to be 5. And now we want to use the distance formula to find AB, which they do here. The distance formula is the difference of the x coordinates squared plus the difference of the y coordinates is squared. Remember to use the same order, or use the same pair in the same order. So in this case, they use the b coordinate first, which is 3, and subtracting -2 ends up adding 2, so you get 5 squared. And then they have -3 from the b coordinate to -3 from the a coordinate, and you'll find that problem that way. So let's look at some practice. I've went ahead and put the stuff in here really quickly just to save some time. So number 3, we have DE. Both has the same y coordinate, so we're just going to go -3 minus 4. The absolute value of that is going to be 7. So -3 minus 4 is -7. Absolute value is always going to be positive. And then we have EF, in which case the x values are the same, so we're going to find the difference of the y values. 2 minus -3 is going to be 5, so we end up with 5 there. Finally, we're going to have our other value, which is from D to F. So in D, we start with -3 for the x value, minus 4, which is going to be -7 squared, which is going to be 49. And we're going to add to that 2 minus -3, which is adding, it's going to be 25. And we're going to find the square root of that sum, which square root of 74 is about 8.6. So we're going to go ahead and add those up to find the perimeter is going to be equal to 20.6. In problem 4, GH, the y values are both 2, so we're going to go -3 minus 2, which is 5, -5, absolute value of 5. We're going to go -3 for GJ minus -1, which is going to be 4 squared, or 16. And we're going to have 2 minus -3, which is going to be 5 squared, plus 25. And we're going to find the absolute value of that is going to be equal to about 5.4. Again, we're going to go HJ. We're going to go 2 minus -1, which is going to be 9, or 3 squared. And we're going to have 2 minus -3 again, which is going to be 5. 5 squared is 25. Going to find the square root of 34, and we're going to get 5.8. Adding those together, we're going to end up with 16.2. Coming over to number 5, we have our KL. This is going to be -1 minus 4, which is going to be 5. In this case, we're going to have LM is going to be 4 minus 2 squared, 1 minus -2 squared. That's going to be a square root of 13, 4, and 9. And we're going to get 3.6. This is going to be a rectangle, so MN is going to have the same measure as KL of 5, and NK is going to have the same as LM of 3.6. And we're going to end up with 17.2 for the perimeter of that one. Finally, the last one is going to be a parallelogram of some sort. We're going to have -4 minus 1, which is going to be -5 squared, 25 squared. And we're going to have -1 minus 4, which is going to be -5 squared. So we're going to have the square root of 50, which is equal to 7.1, or about 7.1. We're going to have 1 minus 4, which is -3 squared, which is 9. 4 minus 1, which is 3 squared, is 9. So we're going to have the square root of 18, which is about 4.2. Again, ST has the same measure as QR, so that's going to be 7.1. And TQ is the same as RS, and that's going to be 4.2, for a total of 22.6. We're now going to be looking at finding the area. In this case, in this example, we can find the base by taking the difference between -4 and 4, which is going to be 8 for the base. And then we can use the difference in height from the point here where y is equal to 1. The y value is going to be 3 to negative 3, which is going to be 6. So this is going to have um, um, 1/2 times base times height, so 1/2 times 6 times 8, as you see, is going to equal 24 down here at the bottom. Let's put this to some practice. I've went ahead and drawn these out pre-done. So we have a triangle. We can see that our base is going to be 4. Our difference in height is going to be 3. So we're going to go 1/2 times 4 times 3, and that's going to be, actually that was 5 for the base, and that's going to be 7.5 square units. We have some rectangles that we're going to do. Actually, the first one is going to be a square. So we see that we're 3 across, 3 down. I can use the points and subtract them if you like, but it's going to be the same thing. We're going to end up with 3 squared, which is going to be 9 square units. Here we have a rectangle. You can see that the difference is 3 here. The difference is 4 here. So we're going to have 3 times 4, and that's going to be 12 square units. Here we have, from this one, we're going to go from negative 3 to 3, so our distance here is going to be 6. We're going to go from 3 to negative 1. The distance here is going to be 4. 6 times 4 is going to be equal to 24 square units. Let's take a look at a little bit. This case gives us a blueprint. Again, we can use the same method we just used with the rectangles. We can see that the x values of the right side both remain at 8. So the difference between 7 and 2 is 5. And then across the top, the difference between 2 and 8 is 6. So we're going to have 5 times 6, or 30 square units. And if they give us the units, we'll use that same unit, but I don't see that given to us. Actually, it was in feet, so square feet. So let's change that and do one of our own. So across the top, we're going from 2 to 6, which is 4 units. And from the top to the bottom, we're going from 2 to negative 3, which is 5 units. So we're going to go 4 times 5 is going to be 20. We're represented by feet, so it's going to be square feet or feet squared. Either way is representing the same.